farming that New Zealand or Australia follows for cod and lamb in India? No, we don't have. How, wherein the grazing, the animals are grazing and food instead of, it is more fodder dependent more than the concentrate or the artificial feed. If you change your feed composition to more concentrate feed, you are consuming more energy. But ecosystems, these animals are grazing more with small groups at the village level. So our ecosystem is quite different here. So that is why the productivity is less. But now we need to move into a organized production portfolio by putting some sort of managing the farming activity. So it is not following the intensive farming that West follows, but to have a modified extensive farming. So this modified extensive farming, how we will strategize, that will address both the issues, meeting the consumer demand, increasing the productivity, contributing the national GDP. One more point is there. So we are focusing for the 5 trillion economy. That is the another top point from our Prime Minister Iflia. Double the income of farmers to reach the 5 trillion economy. So the 5 trillion economy, 1 trillion should come from the agriculture sector. And in that 30-40% should come from the livestock sector. Obviously, as he rightly said, it is not one or the other, but with the other. We need to have this development strategy in our front, but we need to adopt more eco-friendly ways to achieve it. So by this, that is where we all, the future leaders and today's leaders, should work together to reach to that level.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Hopefully.
And thank you very much for very good discussions, very pointed, sharp questions. Any more from you? Look forward. Yeah. Gunjan, please.
So sir, my question is very general, but I would like Amit sir to answer it. So sir, if a company is only having online presence, they do not have any offline stores, or let's say very less offices, so how can they contribute to carbon neutrality? Because since emissions are on a very less stage, so how major role can they play?
Yeah, that's a very good question and a tough one to answer. Yes.
See, now comes the question from the girls. Online purchase habits. Now she started thinking, how is this going to have an impact on their mind?
Yeah, that's a great question, Gunjan. And I think just going back to that slide which one of your batchmates had put up, that Amazon among all the big corporations is the one that has committed to take the longest time to be carbon neutral, right, by 2040, right? Though of course they are in the logistics business and they are not a purely online company by any yardstick, right? But yes, that question applies to almost all the organizations which are in the service economy, the IT, ITES, the BPOs of the world. So I think during my brief talk, I mentioned that there are a range of once one makes a concerted effort to look at carbon reduction, there is obviously a process to be followed. So the first thing you have to look at is your carbon footprint. And today, frankly, it's becoming extremely easy. There are several kinds of software that are available which take you through a module where you can actually list down all the activities, how you consume power, how many laptops and generators do you run, right? Because I think every enterprise runs. So for instance, this auditorium also has a carbon footprint. So likewise, so even if you're in an online business, you probably have a data center, which has a lot of servers, etc., and is also consuming and guzzling a lot of energy. In fact, it was argued that bitcoins are not very good for the environment because they need to be mined using a lot of computing power. Right? So there is a carbon footprint to every kind of human activity. In fact, we are also all composed mostly of, where else? So there is no avoiding that question, but yes, your scope 1 emissions may be very less. Since, I'll stick to your question, I'll not kind of digress from it. Clearly, there have to be ways in which, you can look at contributing to activities which make you carbon negative if there was a terminology like that, right? You can do more than your share. And there are many such organizations which are contributing on that behalf, right? You could probably help other organizations to become carbon neutral in certain
Thank you
ways.
so much, sir.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much for. Anybody else? Yeah.
Good evening, panel members. My name is Nikhil Joshi from 07 batch. My question is regarding how to create an attractive strategy for the industries such as limestone, where their pollution metrics are more on not on carbon dioxide, but more on calcium based. So, what are the strategies that we can implement over there?
The mining industry has a different set of problems. No, they are not essentially coming out of a carbon dioxide base. But the solutions is a scrubbing facilities that is possible to capture this in terms of dust collectivity, and these carbonates are carbonates and calcium base, a sulfate base, a sodium base are absorbed in a proper solvent, and this could be utilized as a landfill and also as a fertilizer, micro level, and this enhances the crop productivity. So why carbon dioxide as an emission is more worrisome factor is when it escapes to space, atmosphere, it do not capture the other greenhouse gases as what I have shown. It rather acts counterproductive and it will allows it to escape to atmosphere. That's where the global harm. When we don't do that, and it is actually reflecting back to the earth, temperatures are rising. And it's not the case with calcium. This can be captured in solution format and can be utilized as a landfill. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rao sir, for helping us. Now, I have been asked to wrap it up. So one last question. Anybody else? Okay, good.
Hey, just add one thing.
Yes, sir.
You ask the students for solutions to your problems, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you hire them, they will be the solution.
Sir, from the industry, we will only hire them when we find the potential in them. When we see that there is a talent. So we are just judging that, sir.
I know, but their fear is, you might steal their IPR.
Okay. Thank you. Last question. Someone, yeah, please.
Hello, sir. Sir, a bundle of stick is more stronger than one stick at a time, right? And during the discussion, it was said that one individual person cannot greatly impact to the discussion that we are having on the topic. So I want to understand, or I want to ask everybody in the panel, that what is the scope, or what is the scope of inter-industry collaboration to tackle this? Like other, like tech can help licious. Is there any collaboration or any kind of inspiration that the industries are taking from each other and going ahead to tackle the biggest mission of having the carbon neutrality? Is there any scope, or what's the scene like in the industry right now?
Can I answer that?
Yes, sir.
If you read, it's okay. I don't think industry part alone can solve the issue. Okay? It is a misnomer to think that the industry has all the solutions for all the problems. There are many times the industry may not even know the problem. That is why if you look at, for example, like mining, one question was asked about lime. If you take mining, the gold is this one type of mining that uses cyanide causes a different type of problems. Now, when the problem came, I mean, actually the metrics show that to get 1 ounce of, which is about 32 grams or 31 grams of gold, they have to blast nearly 1 ton of rock, okay, on an average. And when you blast these mountains, that is where they use all these chemicals and all that, which has its own other, what do you call, water pollution, land pollution, and all that. So at the UN level, like there are many NGOs as well as industry specialists and the policy makers have found what do you call like alliances, the collaborative. I mean, I forgot the one for the gold. There is an, I think the, if you remember, you can tell me. There was one Kimberley process, I think was done. For diamond again, like there was similarly something else was done. So the answer to your simple question is that one industry or one company won't be able to find the solution. It does require collaboration between industries, between companies also. And as he mentioned that sometimes you try to solve one problem and then it creates another type of problem. When they came up with the ethanol fuel, they thought like they found an alternative to fossil fuel. The problem is that the corn prices went up because corn was used extensively, and they found that it was costing more to extract 1 liter of ethanol, right, than what they were using the fossil fuel. There was another question about nitrogen and hydrogen. Let's keep in mind that you take any other industry like CDs or even computers. Many of you were not even born. I can assure you that. The first computer we had was 100 MB RAM and 1 gigabyte hard drive. That was considered the top end of the model. Okay. Now 100 MB RAM and 1 gigabyte is absolutely useless, right, for our need. But the price was about $3,500. Not many could afford. I think, as technology, I think here the problem for all these environmental issues is to find the right technology for processing. And, with multiple iterations, I'm sure that the industry, maybe in the next 5 years, 10 years, will come up with alternative technologies which will be both cost efficient and also, for example, make this saving the planet.
Work and work has started. I just share information and just last week we
It is property LEVs, $5 trillion economy. We need a balanced now they kind of implement framework, strategic initiatives that has to how a balanced approach to work, how a carbon avoidance is coming up a really disruptive solution so that we have it outside in a manner in a
and shared his views on the need of the today and the importance of the team. From growing temperature and its consequences to ice melts, from greenhouse gases and their effects to climate has no boundaries, he gave insights for the bigger picture for us to look into. He in fact discussed the industries those emit carbon dioxide at different levels in the context of our nation. He further dwelled deeper on why India needs economic transformation and need to find alternatives. Beyond all, how India can achieve carbon neutrality by 2070 by using hydrogen fuels, replacing hydrocarbons with hydrogen for energy needs, and smarter solutions for climate protection. Concluded by emphasizing on how important investment in the context of climate sustainability and different measures Indian companies are started to take into. Further, Mr. Subir Hasra beautifully played his role of moderator and shared different practices GMR uses to approach carbon neutrality. Different measures that are implemented in different airports, including the New Delhi airport for efficient usage of energy. Then Mr. Mandar Joshi joined the discussion by pointing out how environmental, social and governance helps to strategize companies to come together. His discussions revolved around boosting the morale of employees to investment in long-term for climate and how it increases the trust of the clients. More light was shed into the theme by Mr. Amit Datta by sharing his views on the theme and how the narrative of carbon neutrality has changed over the time. The urge for the impact of climate change was discussed by sharing different instances across the globe, from Texas cold wave to Kerala and Chennai floods. The perspective of electronic vehicles, beyond being innovation, we also have to focus on the importance of electricity at a higher rate, was aptly put forward. Adding more heat to the engaging session, our panelist, Mr. Rajesh K, shared the significance of understanding and analysis before strategy. His 4 mantras for industries to talk about carbon mentality, starting off with the positive brand image, then collateral benefits of improving revenue and reducing cost, clean investment, and lastly, we needn't wait until the elements of ESG becomes mandatory for the industries to get implemented. After the engaging session with the students and with the director, sir, the moderator rightly concluded by focusing on the key areas that it is not an individualistic approach, but we need a balanced approach. We need a collective effort for the betterment of the globe. And lastly, a thought was put on to each and every one of us that this is a challenge which we together has to deal with. Now, I would like to conclude this summary by quoting the words from one of our clear panelists, Mr. Amit Datta. This is the theme of our times for generations to come. Do have thought on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand, for those concluding remarks. Now I would request Mr. Siddharth Sharma to present the vote of thanks.
तो थोड़ा पीछे कर लो, हम दोनों स्क्रीन पे वीडियो प्ले करना है। नो लोगों का वीडियो
Good afternoon, respected dignitaries, director sir, faculty members, broadcasting partner, support team, and all the students of IIM Amritsar. It's indeed an honor to stand in front of this elite cohort to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the entire fraternity of IIM Amritsar. I would like to thank the keynote speaker, Mr. K.S. Rao, the moderator Joshi, Mr. Amit Datta and Mr. Rajesh K for gracing this event with their presence and making the first offline conclave since the pandemic a resounding success. We believe that this will act as a foundation stone for future collaborations. I am sure the students will benefit from the discussion and will reflect upon them. Thank you all for enlightening us with your valuable knowledge and experience. Our director, Professor Nagarajan Ramamurthy, and all the faculty members have been our backbone in each step that we take forward. Thank you, sir, for your support and for guiding us in the right direction. Furthermore, I would for covering this event. We all are very grateful to the sponsoring organizations and the media members. I want to extend a warm gratitude to the IT team for the smooth functioning of today's event. The media and public relations cell needs no special introduction, and I would like to thank the team for making this event successful by embarking on Sankshetra's online and offline presence. I extend our sincere gratitude to the Placements Committee for enabling us in successfully conducting this event and the relentless efforts that they have put in for both of the sessions. extend our sincere gratitude to 50mm, the Photography Club of IIM Amritsar, for capturing and covering this informative discussion. I would also like to thank Team Strategen, the Strategy and Consulting Club of IIM Amritsar, for setting a relevant context for this event. This event would not have been as successful one without the seamless efforts of the Industry Interaction Cell of IIM Amritsar. Thank you, team. Last but not the least, I thank all the and engagement. Without you all, this event would not have been possible. Once again, thank you all.
Gunjan, done right? Done. You're playing a video.
Everyone is leaving. We end up on stage. Give this phone to her.
He looks proud. He looks proud. Of course, he's good. He looks proud. Like very proud. Okay, it's like still there. After move, oh no. Yeah, with the video.
We request our students to kindly remain seated. For a few more minutes, our MPRC team has built a very nice video for today's session. We will be playing it for you guys.
Yeah, I'm going to sit here.
In 3 decades of my career, whether it was PhD, web or etc., taking that data down and then making it work was always essential. And that's where I think the, consultative mindset or organic mindset comes in.
Customer orientation of supply chain. In pharma, it is largely based on what is it that the customer needs, being backed up by all the research, then clinical trials, and eventually a final product management.
So it is all about the costing. How good your returns are for forecasting is definitely one way to look at it. The second way to look at it is also about working closely with customers about challenges which are seen in the supply chain.
What technology will come, I think that's just very important. People will be important to always technology will come, change, go, but people will.
Business strategy for carbon neutrality. Next steps for sustainable strategy.
We must transform our move out of hydrocarbon energy base to a hydrogen and a renewable energy base.
I would request Mr. Subir Basa to take the helm of the company and commence today's discussion.
We have a challenge as a problem in hand, that is the carbon neutrality.
It's really everything to the future of our lives. Some of the greatest responsibility is the privilege for all of us here people. We cannot protect carbon neutrality or carbon impact. It is a framework of what we call the latest situation. Right? It is an important
My question is how can we ensure that quality of the data is not compromised? Data is a big and it is very much critical.
I think I would really say that.
So clearly we need to have an impact on carbon neutrality for the daily basis. It will necessitate that all the stakeholders have to come together, whether it's businesses, governments, students, civil society, and that is where COP26 is so different from the Paris Agreement.
What the active states, what the global policy
Nikhil says, we need to align with them, we need to understand them, and we need to have our own strategy that is suitable to our own environment, our own ecosystem, and let us find to meet this.
Thank you so much, Media PRSL, for this lovely video.